Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 5 a Day, Notting Hill Community Church's opportunity to give you just 5 minutes every day to help to build your spiritual health, which I believe touches every other part of your life. And if you build your spiritual health, you're going to build your health all round. These last couple of days, we've been looking in James and dipping into Proverbs as well, talking about wisdom and what the Bible says about it. Let me read you a couple of verses from James 3, starting from verse 16. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. James is writing into people who are in terrible difficulties. He talks right at the beginning of the hardships and trials they were going through. Such was the difficulties they were going through. They were questioning everything. They were questioning their faith. They were questioning what life was all about. They were questioning, were they on the right path? What were they doing? They were questioning everything. And they were surrounded also with a lot of people who were coming in, bringing false teaching, fake news, even trolls, if you like, who were, trying to put them off, trying to say bad things about them. And that was a really discouraging time. We're living through some difficult times, and sometimes trying to find the truth from the untruth is difficult. Trying to find wisdom and steer a path through that is difficult, and I believe that God can help us. And this is what James does. He points them to God. Right in the very beginning, in verse 5, he says this: if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, which is brilliant, isn't it? And it will be given to you. And we can do that. I really believe we can ask God for wisdom. James here says in verse 17, but the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure. He's contrasting the wisdom that comes from heaven. Now, when we say come from heaven, does it mean like a ray of sunlight that comes down, or UV rays that come down from the sun? Does it mean that just something that's floating around in the sky? No. When it talks about coming from heaven, it means emanating from God himself, coming from God himself. So it will have the attributes of God. So wisdom that comes from heaven is pure. And that speaks. It speaks to us of attitude. It speaks to us about having just the right thinking, the right attitude. It speaks to us in those terms. And the right motives, having the right motives. And what James says is that the wrong motives produces the wrong kind of problems, envy, jealousy, etc. But the wisdom that comes from above is pure, and therefore what it will produce is pure. So how do they tell? How do the people tell who are the right people? Who are the people that they should follow? Who should they listen to? Well, here's a help for them, because the wisdom that comes from God is pure, and therefore, because it's pure, it then produces these results, which you can then see. It's very difficult often to judge people and to judge situations. Are they telling me the truth? Are they right? Should I follow this one? Should I follow that one? And James helps us here. So if it comes from God, then it will produce these kind of results: peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere, peace-loving. Not trying to be contentious just for the sake of it, not just trying to get their point across, not just trying to stir up trouble because they have other motives. Considerate. That word is actually a great word, and it can be translated. It has elements of kindness, gentleness maybe is a good translation as well. It's being gentle, it's being considerate, it's showing care and concern for others, for everybody, because it's impartial and it's sincere. It's not put on, it's not to gain an audience, it's not to convince some people that really, like, we're nice people, or we're right, or we're cleverer than everybody else. But it's coming out of sincerity that comes from God, that comes from that source of God, and so it's pure. There is no ambition, there is no other motive in it. Hence, it can be impartial and it's submissive. And so the attitude is one of submission. It's one of serving. Jesus said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. And he taught his disciples the same. And they should have the same attitude as he has. So today, let's ask God, let's talk to God. Let's say, God, give me wisdom through this situation, what I should be doing, how I should be listening, who should I be listening to? Give me wisdom in these times that we live in. And I believe God will do that because he promises in James 1:5. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. If you find this helpful, point others in this direction, but tune in tomorrow and I'll leave you with a little closing screen in case you want some more information or some help. God bless.